you think that light-skinned rappers get kind of hated on? And have you had any experiences where people have done that to you?
I ain't gonna say just rappers. I'm gonna say like bright people. Like,
right.
Bright people, they have it rough. You know what I'm saying? They the first ones to get picked. Some people, they never did nothing gangster. They just ugly, so people stay away from them. But like I say, adversity builds character.
Well, I waited every weekend and you never showed up. You always said that you would. Yeah, you told me that you would come, Daddy. You never did. You told me that you was gonna pick me up. And I waited. You know, I'm a man of my word today because you aren't. I remember the sidewalk that I would sit on. You never came to see me. The substance that would allow you to make that little boy wait forever.
So I recently made a clip or reacted to a clip about light-skinned women and how they feel about darker-skinned women, and colorism seems to always be a theme, not just in the black community or African diaspora, but just across the world, period. As European and white skin is looked at as beautiful and the standard of beauty internationally. Now, I've also done videos about people saying that biracial men like myself or light-skinned men have a god complex, or they're very dangerous people because they're socialized with trauma, being raised as a black man but having the privilege of being white and having light skin and things like that. So there's like a mulatto tragedy, if you will, that people talk about. And this clip I'm going to get into here with Jesse Williams, and that you guys may have saw with Logic talking about and other people, it's just one of those things where some people have it, some people don't, but people deal with colorism in different ways. So we're going to get into what Jesse's talking about. Let's listen to it. Let's go.
Just because I listen to the Beatles and Bob Dylan doesn't make me less black. Mm-hmm. Who do you think they're copying when they made that music? Mm-hmm. Who do you like? It's okay and more interesting to be have as many tools in your toolbox as possible. I just get a little disinterested in like the tragic mulatto story. Because like that's not the hard part. Yeah. And maybe I'm an asshole. But like it just doesn't.
Title, Sway.
That doesn't.
Tragic mulatto.
Well, that's a real. There's 5 categories. Paul Bogle wrote a book called Toms, Coons, Mulattoes, Mammies, and Bucks. There's like the 5 or 6, whatever number that was, the names I just said, of roles that black people have played throughout the history of cinema. Mm-hmm. Right, you're either a Tom, a Coon, a Mammy, a mulatto, or a buck. And these are tropes that we've adapted. And yes, if you're I'm not a girl, but I've heard a lot, like, if you're a light-skinned girl, like, maybe the black girls don't fuck with you, or they think that you think you're better than... Right. Okay, but the world also thinks you're better than and treats you better. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, like, what's the math we're doing right now? Like, it's not a net loss. But you need to overcome. You need to figure out a way to be sensitive to that. I know that, like, I've got treated a certain way and get attention from girls because of the way I look, which I did not choose. I did not win a lottery shooting craps in the womb and like
let me get them eyes.
Let me get them eyes. Let me get these freckles. Let me get this color skin. Like, I didn't earn that. That's got nothing to do with me. But I know that I'm gonna have a better deal, so I can be more sensitive to that fact. I'm not gonna whine about how dark-skinned people treat me worse. Like, that's just a weird way to expend my energy. Yeah. And who's that for?
Right.
Like, I'm more interested in black liberation than like light-skinned storytelling. I love it. That's my experience. Other people have had completely different experiences. Yeah. I feel I'm aware that it's gonna come off kind of crass and insensitive, but I just want to. I don't like to dive down that. That's not a portal. I've got 5 other focuses. Yeah. And like, light skin struggle ain't it.
That ain't
for
it.
Me.
The tragic mulatto. And no, that ain't. That's honesty, man. That's all we ask.
And it's
man.
a lot of privilege. I had fucking incredible parents, an incredible like layered family that allowed me to be everything, but held me to a standard. Like, if I'm not working for the benefit of black people, my dad is not having it or impressed. Wow. Like, the collective body is always more important than the individual. I don't give a fuck about your individual accomplishments. What are you doing for black people?
Wow.
Like, it's always, and I didn't raise myself that way. Somebody raised me that way. That's a privilege. All of this comes from being real lucky. But I can't unremember that.
The tragic mulatto story. So I find this to be very fascinating, what he's saying, because it goes both ways. You're looked at in a certain way, especially in other places throughout the world. I know in the United States, they may perceive a certain way. But in the black community, I think there's a very small minority that actually say, I mean, for men, want light-skinned men. Dark skin is the thing to do. But me growing up personally, guys, I wasn't really accepted and never thought that I could ever be white or I would be accepted as white. And at the same time, it's one of those things that you are more accepted because I was raised by a black mother, a single mother, and I was raised in a black neighborhood. But it was made obvious early on that, especially in a moment of anger, that you're not black, but then again, you're not white either. Because even now, I can never become a white man or be a white man. Even though I joke with people and, tell them, hey, I'm white, because they like to say I shouldn't be speaking on black issues. But I find throughout black history in America that some of the biggest champions for black folks have been either biracial black people or light-skinned black people. And you could say that's privilege that allows them to do that. I'm not here to argue about that, but hey, that is something that goes on. But I agree with Jesse. I am about the liberation and the freedom of black people and the equality of black people overall in this world. I'm worrying about home here in America. I know we got Pan-Africanism and things like that, but I'm talking about black Americans, as we say, because some of you say African American. I'm talking about black Americans here in the States and how we can rise up as a collective and how we can become more financially literate and savvy and accumulate generational wealth and be peaceful and protect each other and have the family structure and be a cohesive unit overall. But speaking of that, I'm gonna play some clips here from Logic, who's a rapper. I don't listen to his music. I know who he is. A white passing black man, if you will. And people have been critical of him and his music and even saying that he's not really black, even though on this interview here that recently went viral with his father, he talks to his father like his father ain't ish in front of the world. And this goes into that whole tragic mulatto narrative and having to overcome. But we're gonna get into these clips. Let's go.
When we spoke earlier, and that I know you've said things like, my son don't help me, my son don't help anybody, da-da-da. Respectfully, in a place I know that was said from ignorance, because there's also a big side of you that you know now, but you didn't know at the time. I have helped people in my family, and I've helped people outside of my family. I've helped people afford homes. I've helped the homeless. I've helped people in my black community. I've donated anonymously.
Oh, I know. I know all those things that you've done.
But let me finish. So what I'm saying is respectfully, Dad, you actually don't know all the things that I've done, because most people don't know all the things that I've done, because I don't exploit the fact that I give, let alone to my black community. I'm not out here trying to prove my blackness. I'm not a nigga who goes to the hood with a fucking turkey every Thanksgiving and throws it out. I'm not. That's not who I am. So with that being said, Daddy, when we spoke earlier today, I know there's a lot of motherfuckers even in our family who could be like, oh, Bobby, don't, he got all this money, he got millions of dollars, but he don't want to help nobody, he don't want to buy nobody a house. Well, hold up, let's just step back real quick. And I'm gonna say all this, and it's not gonna be a one-sided conversation, Dad. I promise you. But this, I just want to get this out, and I want to say it, and I really want to go back and forth, and I want to have fun. I want to laugh, and I want to have a good time, but I just want to say this because it's very important to me. There was a time when you came to me, asked me for $850,000 to buy you a house studio for you and your band. Now, I've also had my sister ask me to buy her a house. I've had my brothers ask me to give them money. I've given tens of thousands of dollars to my brothers and my sisters, and I've seen them piss it away. So when you do the math, right, and we did the math earlier today, exactly. It's you, it's my mama, it's my brother, it's my sister, it's my other sister, it's my other sister, it's my other sister, it's my other brother, it's my other brother. That's 9. Now, let's not talk about how many fucking kids all these people got, but let's just talk about those 9 people. Yeah. So if I'm gonna buy y'all a decent house, that's $500,000. That's for 2 people, $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4.5 million just to purchase that, let alone mortgage, let alone other bills that come into that. Now, okay, you got a house, so then what? That's 9 houses. Let's talk about 9 vehicles. Let's talk about 9 cars that I got to pay for. Let's talk about 9 gas bills a month I got to get paid for. Let's talk about 9 AT&T fucking bills I got to pay for. 9 Comcast bills, HBO bills. I'm gonna keep going. Cause guess what? If I'm paying all this money, ain't nobody on welfare no more. Niggas ain't fucking broke no more. So they ain't on welfare, they ain't on food stamps. That's 9 people I got to pay for food for. That's 9 people I got to pay for vacations for. Now, let's also talk about the fact that a majority of your children and my mother's children all have children. So let's duplicate that motherfucker times about however much that is. Fuck that. Fuck that shit. And unfortunately, I've learned when I give 10,000 here, 5,000 here of cash to somebody, and then they blow it, and then they don't got nothing.
They don't use it right.
And then they look at me like I fucked up or I did something wrong, and then they come back and they ask me again and again and again. Now, as a fucking millionaire who has broken that cycle, made it out the hood, educated myself, and understand what it means to be self-sufficient, there is no way as a fucking man that I could ever, as much as it hurts me to see the people that I love struggle, give them money and watch them just burn it to nothing again. So I say all that to say, Daddy, I love you with all my heart. And the only reason I ain't never given you a crazy amount of money is because I didn't want to see you blow it.
So I was reading the comments on Instagram where this was posted and people were saying different things about can he express himself and things like that. You can express yourself behind closed doors. If you're talking to your parents like that and cursing like every sentence or every other sentence, this and that, and I'm not a nigga handing out turkeys in the hood and all this, it's just too much, bro. It's just too much. And you talking to your dad like he's your homeboy. Well, maybe he is, JR. Still, the way this guy is talking, bro, even the average person has to deal with the stuff you have to deal with. People asking for money, people asking for help or whatever. It just goes on. But I didn't like how he talked to his pops like that, even if you don't have any respect for him. If you're going to talk to him like some kind of way, we're going to have fun, we're going to laugh, instead of just saying all this stuff in front of the world, man. Just my thoughts, bro. You overcame all that. You don't have to explain anything to anybody. You don't have to give money to anybody that you don't want to, and that's just that. But at the end of the day, if it wasn't for your father, you wouldn't be here in terms of this blackness that you have, that you use, that you claim that you are. Just my thoughts. I could be off. Let me know what you guys think, though. Comment below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. Much blessings in abundance. Stick around for the next video that's going to pop up on the screen below. That's where I'm going to see you guys at. It's your favorite everything. This is Wisdom. I'm out of here. Peace.